Ever wonder what life truly sounded like in a bustling 18th century American port? Close your eyes and let the gentle creak of wooden ships and the distant shouts of dock workers transport you back in time. This isn't just background noise. It's an authentic recreation designed to soothe your senses and unlock a bygone era. Welcome to another soothing episode of Boring History for Sleep, where we gently drift back through the annals of time to explore the quiet corners of the past. Tonight, we invite you to immerse yourself in the relaxing sounds of an early American port city's bustle, focusing on the 1800s harbor life that shaped the nation's coastal rhythms. Imagine yourself settling into a comfortable spot, perhaps with the lights dimmed low, as we recreate the authentic ambient soundscape of a bustling 18th century harbor. This isn't about excitement or adventure, but rather a steady, unhurried journey into the everyday echoes of history that can lull you into relaxation. Let the creak of wooden ships and the distant shouts of dock workers wash over you like a gentle tide, carrying away the stresses of the day. As we anchor ourselves in this past, consider why this particular soundscape holds such a unique appeal for relaxation and focus in our modern world. Beyond the typical ambient noises like rain or ocean waves, the 18th century harbor offers a layered symphony that blends human activity with natural elements in a way that feels both familiar and distant. The creaking timbers of tall ships, the soft lapping of water against weathered hulls, and the muffled calls of sailors create a rhythmic pattern that mirrors the steady beat of a heartbeat, promoting a sense of calm without overwhelming the senses. Historically, these ports were hubs of commerce and connection. The sounds of loading cargo and rigging sails form the backdrop to daily life. Much like how background noise today helps many people concentrate or unwind, this era's soundscape stands out because it evokes a time when life moved at the pace of wind and waves, providing a contrast to the constant digital hum of contemporary existence that often leaves us overstimulated. What makes this harbor's soundscape particularly effective for relaxation is its surprising historical accuracy, which deepens the immersion rather than serving as mere background filler. Researchers have pored over diaries, ship logs, and period illustrations to reconstruct the precise acoustics of places like Boston or New York harbors in the early 1800s, ensuring every creak and splash rings true. For instance, the groan of oak planks under strain wasn't just random noise, but a testament to the craftsmanship of shipbuilders who relied on hand-hewn timbers from New England forests. This fidelity allows listeners to feel transported as if standing on a foggy dock at dawn, without the need for dramatic narratives or visual aids. In turn, such authenticity enhances the meditative quality, turning passive listening into a subtle mental escape that can ease insomnia or anxiety. Compared to modern sounds like traffic or office chatter, this 18th century harbor provides a different kind of calm rooted in organic, unmechanized elements that feel timeless and grounding. Where today's urban noise often jars with its unpredictability, the harbor's bustle follows a predictable cycle tied to tides and trade schedules, offering reassurance through repetition. The gentle clink of chains being hauled or the faint cry of seagulls overhead creates a white noise effect that's enriched by historical context, making it ideal for those seeking focus during work or study. Moreover, this soundscape bridges the gap between past and present, reminding us how our ancestors found solace in the same natural rhythms that we now recreate digitally. Ultimately, it's this blend of nostalgia and novelty that sets it apart, inviting you to let your mind wander freely amid the echoes of a bygone era. Having anchored ourselves in the reasons why this 18th century harbor soundscape offers such a unique path to relaxation, let us now gently shift our focus to the process of crafting these authentic sounds, peeling back the layers to understand how they come together in harmony. Imagine the harbor not as a chaotic scene, but as a carefully composed orchestra where each element plays its part in a symphony of subtle rhythms. This segment will guide you through the deconstruction of those layers, revealing the key components that define the bustle without overwhelming the senses. As we proceed, you'll appreciate the meticulous care taken to ensure every sound feels true to the era, allowing your mind to settle into the steady flow of history. With that in mind, we begin by identifying the foundational elements that form the backbone of this ambient recreation. Deconstructing the layers of an 1800s harbor sound starts with recognizing the natural water elements that provide the constant, soothing undercurrent to the entire scene. The gentle lapping of waves against wooden hulls creates a rhythmic pulse, much like the ebb and flow of breath during meditation. Drawing from historical accounts of tidal patterns in ports like Philadelphia or Charleston, this sound isn't uniform but varies subtly with the imagined weather conditions, incorporating soft splashes from oars dipping into the water, or the occasional drip from rain-soaked ropes hanging from mast. Sailors' logs from the period describe how these aquatic noises blended with the creak of docks underfoot, forming a baseline that grounded the daily activities of merchants and fishermen alike. In our recreation, these elements are layered first, ensuring they remain dominant yet unobtrusive, inviting listeners to imagine themselves strolling along the wharf as the water whispers its timeless tales. Such deconstruction highlights how nature's contributions set the stage for human endeavors in this historical setting. Next in the layers come the distinctive creaks and groans of wooden ships, which embody the engineering marvels of the early American maritime era and add a textured depth to the soundscape. Crafted from sturdy oaks and pines harvested from vast forests, these vessels would expand and contract with humidity, producing low, resonant moans that echoed across the harbor like distant sighs. Historical shipbuilding treatises detail how joints and planks were fitted without modern fasteners, relying on wooden pegs that shifted slightly with each swell, contributing to the authentic timber we seek to replicate. The sounds vary in intensity, from faint squeaks during calm docking to deeper rumbles when fully laden ships rocked at anchor, reflecting the weight of cargoes like cotton, timber, or spices from distant trades. By isolating these creaks, we capture the essence of an era when sailing ships were the lifeblood of commerce, allowing the listener to feel the quiet strength of these floating structures. This layer interweaves seamlessly with the water sounds, creating a foundational harmony that evokes the harbor's enduring resilience. Amid these natural and structural sounds, the distant calls and shouts of dockworkers introduce a human element, infusing the scene with subtle activity without disrupting the overall calm. In the 1800s, ports buzzed with commands like heave-ho or secure the lines, muffled by fog or distance as laborers from diverse backgrounds, Irish immigrants, free African Americans, and local Yankees coordinated the unloading of barrels and crates. Diaries from harbor masters note how these voices carried over the water, often in rhythmic chants that synchronize with physical tasks, much like work songs that lighten the load of repetitive labor. We carefully modulate the volume and clarity of these calls to keep them background whispers, avoiding any sense of urgency that might jar the relaxation process. This human layer adds a touch of life to the soundscape, reminding us of the communal efforts that built early American economies. Yet it remains gentle enough to fade into the periphery of awareness. Together with the water and creeks, it forms a cohesive tapestry of historical immersion. Building upon this deconstruction, the next aspect of crafting the authentic 1800s harbor sound involves the meticulous research that ensures every auditory detail aligns with historical fidelity. Scholars comb through archival records, including seafaring journals and port manifests from the Library of Congress, to pinpoint the exact acoustics of the time, such as the pitch of bell buoys or the thud of horse-drawn carts on cobblestone quays. This research reveals nuances like how wind-through rigging produced whizzing tones, varying by sail material canvas in the early decades, giving way to more durable fabrics later on. Sound designers then cross-reference these with contemporary acoustic studies of preserved ships, like those at Mystic Seaport, to verify authenticity without anachronisms. The goal is to transport you back accurately, so even minor elements, such as the rustle of sails being furled, are grounded in evidence from period illustrations and eyewitness accounts. Through this rigorous approach, the soundscape becomes more than noise. It transforms into a portal to the past, enhancing your relaxation with the weight of real history. In tandem with research, advanced sound design techniques are employed to recreate these elements with precision, blending analog recordings and digital synthesis for a seamless experience. Field recordings from modern wooden boats are captured in controlled environments, then aged through filters to mimic the weathered quality of 1800s vessels, removing any contemporary engine hums or synthetic echoes. Techniques like convolution reverb simulate the open-air acoustics of a harbor. Applying impulse responses derived from historical site measurements to make sounds feel expansive, yet intimate. Layering software allows for dynamic mixing. Elements respond to imagined time of day dawn, bringing softer, sparse noises, while midday introduces subtle increases in activity without escalation. This methodical process ensures the soundscape evolves naturally, much like the harbor itself did with shifting tides and trades. Ultimately, these techniques honor the era's simplicity, providing a calming auditory journey free from modern distractions. To give you a peek behind the curtain, let's discuss the specific sound sources that form the building blocks of this recreation. Drawn from a vast library of historical and natural audio, core elements like ship creaks originate from recordings of replica tall ships, such as the USS Constitution during maintenance, adjusted for authenticity to match descriptions in naval logs from the War of 1812 period. Water lapping comes from hydrophone captures in coastal inlets similar to those of early Baltimore or Savannah, filtered to exclude modern pollutants interference. Human voices are sourced from reenactors reciting period-appropriate phrases. Accents researched from linguistic studies of 19th century immigrants, ensuring diversity in tone and dialect. Ambient additions like the occasional squawk of gulls or clatter of wooden crates, pulled from wildlife and artifact sound banks cross-verified against natural history records. This curated selection creates a rich, believable palette that invites deep immersion. The mixing philosophy behind this soundscape emphasizes balance and subtlety, prioritizing a non-intrusive blend that supports relaxation over dominance. Each layer is assigned a frequency range low for creaks and waves, mid for voices, high for subtle winds to prevent muddiness, drawing from audio engineering principles adapted from classical music production. Volume dynamics are said to mimic real-world attenuation, where distant shouts fade naturally, fostering a sense of space that allows your mind to expand into the scene. We avoid compression that could heighten drama, opting instead for gentle fades and crossfades that mirror the harbor's organic flow. This philosophy stems from the understanding that true calm comes from harmony, not silence, echoing how 1800s port dwellers found peace amid their bustling world. In practice, it results in a soundscape where no single element overwhelms, gently guiding you towards sleep. As we continue to unpack the crafting process, consider how additional subtle layers, such as the faint jingle of harness bells from delivery wagons, add contextual depth without complexity. These sounds, pulled from historical reenactment audio, reflect the integration of land and sea. Commerce in ports like New Orleans, where goods transition from ships to streets. Research shows that such noises were intermittent, punctuating the steady water rhythms and providing brief, non-disruptive variety in design. They are placed sparingly, timed to coincide with imagined cargo movements described in trade ledgers. This approach maintains the soundscape's soothing core while enriching the historical narrative. Listeners can thus envision the full ecosystem of harbor life in a measured way. Further enhancing fidelity, we incorporate period-specific tools and machinery sounds, like the grind of manual winches hoisting sails, sourced from museum demonstrations of authentic equipment. Accounts from sailors' memoirs detail the slow, labored turns of these devices, producing a gritty, repetitive scrape that symbolizes the era's manual toil. Sound designers replicate this using Foley techniques, wrapping ropes over wooden studios to capture the texture, then layering it softly into the mix. This element underscores the human scale of 1800s operations, contrasting with today's mechanized ports, yet it's kept low-key to preserve calm. By including such details, the soundscape gains educational value, subtly teaching about technology of the time. It's all part of creating an immersive bubble that feels lived in and real. Research extends to atmospheric conditions, factoring in how fog or wind altered sounds in harbors, as noted in meteorological logs from coastal lighthouses, for instance. Dense mist muffled calls, creating an enveloped hush that we emulate with reverb adjustments. Techniques involve processing bass recordings through environmental simulators, calibrated to match 1800s climate data from regions like the Chesapeake Bay. This adds variability, making sessions feel dynamic yet predictable, much like nature itself. The result is a soundscape that breathes, adapting gently to promote sustained relaxation. Such attention to detail elevates the experience from generic to genuinely historical. In the mixing stage, philosophy guides the use of stereo panning to create spatial awareness, placing water to the sides and voice essentially as if you're on the dock looking out. This draws from binaural recording methods inspired by how ears perceive direction in open spaces like 1800s wharves. It enhances immersion without requiring effort from the listener, allowing the mind to map the scene subconsciously. We prioritize low fatigue levels, ensuring prolonged listening doesn't strain. Aligning with sleep aid goals, this spatial design mirrors the harbor's layout, with ships to one side and land activity to the other. Overall, it fosters a sense of being there, calmly and safely. Peeking further behind the curtain, sound sources include archived wind effects from sailing expeditions, tuned to match velocities common in Atlantic ports during the era. Historical wind roses from naval charts inform the intensity, producing soft howls through rigging that add atmosphere. These are blended with care to avoid sharpness, using equalization to soften edges. This layer complements the core elements, evoking the unpredictability of weather that sailors face daily. It's a nod to the resilience of port communities, presented in a way that soothes rather than stirs. The selection process ensures cultural accuracy, incorporating influences from global trades. Advanced techniques also involve noise reduction to isolate pure historical essences, removing any ambient modern intrusions from source materials. For example, bird calls are vetted against ornithological records to confirm species present in 1800s America, like herring gulls along the East Coast. Mixing philosophy here stresses minimalism, adding only what's essential to evoke the bustle. This results in a clean, focused soundscape that respects the listener's need for tranquility. Research backs every choice, from volume curves to fade times, creating a reliable relaxation tool. In essence, it's crafted for effortless drift into rest. As we wrap this exploration of crafting, reflect on how these layers and techniques converge to form a holistic auditory portrait of the 1800s harbor. The deconstruction reveals interconnectedness where water supports creaks and voices tie it all to human stories. Historical accuracy through research ensures trustworthiness, while design elevates it to art. Specific sources and mixing philosophy maintain balance, making it ideal for sleep. Imagine yourself now enveloped in this sound as we transition smoothly to your personal journey into the bustle. This foundation sets the stage for deeper engagement in the segments ahead. Having delved into the foundational layers and the meticulous crafting process behind our 1800s harbor soundscape, let us now turn our attention to how you, the listener, can embark on your own journey into this gentle bustle, transforming passive hearing into a more personal experience. Picture yourself in a quiet room, perhaps with a soft blanket draped over you, as the sounds begin to unfold like a slow-moving fog over the water. This segment is designed to guide you gently, offering suggestions that enhance immersion without requiring any effort, beyond simply being present as we explore. Remember that the goal is relaxation, allowing the historical echoes to wash over you at your own pace. With these thoughts in mind, we start by considering the optimal ways to set the stage for your auditory voyage. Guiding the listener begins with practical suggestions for maximizing the immersive experience, such as donning a pair of comfortable headphones that can capture the subtle stereo effects of waves lapping from left to right. In the 1800s, harbor sounds would envelop those on the docks in a three-dimensional way, with calls echoing from afar and creaks resounding nearby, a quality we replicate through binaural recording techniques from modern ears, creating a quiet space free from distractions. Mirrors how sailors might have found solace in their bunks amid the ship's gentle rocking, letting the ambient noise become a cocoon of calm. Dim the lights or close your eyes to heighten auditory focus, much as fog-shrouded mornings in ports like Salem would have blurred visuals and amplified sounds for early risers. This setup encourages the mind to visualize the scene naturally, turning the soundscape into a personal sanctuary for unwinding after a long day. Ultimately, these simple preparations open the door to deeper historical connection without any strain. Beyond the physical setup, consider positioning yourself in a reclined posture, perhaps on a bed or armchair, to mimic the restful poses of weary dock workers leaning against crates. During brief lulls in activity, historical accounts from port journals describe how such moments of repose allowed the rhythmic harbor noises to lull them into short naps, a practice we adapt for contemporary relaxation routines. Breathing deeply in sync with the imagined tide's rise and fall can further integrate your body with the soundscape, fostering a meditative state akin to mindfulness exercises rooted in natural patterns. Avoid multitasking, let the sounds be your sole companion, just as merchants in the era focused on the harbor's pulse to gauge incoming ships. This approach not only enhances immersion but also promotes mental clarity, making it suitable for evening wind-downs or afternoon breaks. In essence, it's about surrendering to the flow, allowing history to carry you gently. Suggestions extend to timing your listening sessions, ideally during twilight hours when the modern world quiets, paralleling the harbor's evening hush as lamps were lit on ships at anchor in places like Norfolk. Starting with shorter exposures, say 15 minutes, builds familiarity with the layers, much like apprentices learning the ropes in 1800 shipyards through gradual exposure to the din. Gradually extend as comfort grows, using the soundscape as a bridge to sleep by playing it softly in the background of your bedtime routine. For those with vivid imaginations, paired with light reading on maritime history to deepen context without overstimulating the brain. These time integrations ensure the experience remains soothing, preventing any sense of overload from the subtle bustle. Over time, this can become a habitual ritual, echoing the daily rhythms that define life in early American ports. Potential applications of this soundscape reach into various aspects of daily life, from aiding deep work sessions where the steady rhythms provide a non-distracting focus aid, similar to how captains use harbor sounds to concentrate on navigation charts. In an office or study, the ambient noise masks modern interruptions, creating a bubble of historical tranquility that boosts productivity without the jarring effects of white noise generators. For meditation practitioners, the layered elements serve as anchors for mindfulness, the water lapping guiding breath and creaks marking moments of reflection, drawing from transcendental practices influenced by seafaring lore. Even during light exercise like walking or yoga, the sounds can transport you mentally to a dockside stroll, enhancing physical relaxation through auditory escapism. This versatility makes it a tool for wellness, adaptable to individual needs in our fast-paced era. By exploring these uses, you discover how the past echoes support present-day balance. Another application lies in historical role-playing or educational settings. The listeners might imagine themselves as an 1800s trader negotiating deals amid the bustle, using the soundscape to enrich learning without formal study. Teachers or hobbyists can incorporate it into lessons on American expansion, letting students absorb the era's atmosphere passively while discussing topics like the cotton, trade, or immigrant waves. For writers crafting period pieces, the authentic noises spark creativity, providing sonic inspiration for scenes set in bustling harbors like those in Melville's tales. In therapy contexts, it offers a gentle exposure to structured sounds for those managing anxiety, mirroring how sailors acclimated to the sea's unpredictability. These educational and therapeutic roles highlight the soundscape's broader value. Beyond mere relaxation, it becomes a bridge to empathy with historical figures, all while maintaining a calm delivery. Encouraging viewers to go beyond passive listening, we suggest actively imagining the scenes unfolding around you, such as visualizing the silhouette of clipper ships against a setting sun, as their rigging creaks in the breeze. Draw from period paintings or engravings to populate your mental harbor with figures in wool coats and tricorn hats loading tea chests or mending nets in the soft glow of lanterns. This visualization technique, rooted in guided imagery practices, enhances emotional connection without requiring energy, allowing the mind to wander freely like a drifting boat. Whisper along with distant calls if inclined, but keep it internal to preserve tranquility, emulating the quiet observations of harbor onlookers in the era. Over repeated listens, these imaginings deepen, turning the soundscape into a personalized narrative. Such engagement transforms it from background to foreground gently, fostering a sense of presence in the past. To further encourage imagination, think of sensory extensions like the faint scent of tar and salt water that would accompany the sounds, evoking the full harbor experience without actual props. Historical recipes for shipboard meals could inspire a simple snack beforehand, linking taste to the auditory journey in a subtle way. Share your mental visions in community forums or journals, much as diarists of the time recorded their port experiences, building a collective appreciation. For families, it can spark bedtime stories where children picture adventures on the docks, promoting restful sleep through shared wonder. This active yet low-effort involvement keeps the experience fresh, preventing habituation. In turn, it cultivates a deeper relaxation response over time. As you imagine the scenes, consider the daily routines embedded in the sounds, like fishermen hauling in their catch at dawn, their voices blending with gull cries in a harmonious routine. Envision the market stalls along the wharf coming to life, with vendors' murmurs adding to the human tapestry, all drawn from archival sketches of ports like Providence. This mental mapping not only enriches the listen but also educates subtly on social histories, such as the roles of women in dockside trades. Allow discrepancies in your visions. There's no right way, just as historical accounts varied by perspective. Such flexibility ensures the process remains stress-free and enjoyable. Ultimately, it's your harbor to explore at leisure. Building on imagination, incorporate personal elements by overlaying memories of your own coastal visits onto the soundscape, merging past and present in a calming fusion. If you've walked modern piers, recall the wood underfoot and adapt it to the 1800s creaks, creating a hybrid sense of timelessness. For landlocked listeners, this bridging technique makes the maritime world accessible, drawing parallels to any rhythmic environment like a quiet train station. Encourage noting how the sounds evoke emotions, perhaps nostalgia or peace, journaling them post-session for reflection. This personalization elevates passive listening to therapeutic self-discovery and honors the universal appeal of harbor life across eras. In educational applications beyond role-playing, use the soundscape for language learning, focusing on period dialects and the muffled shouts to practice comprehension subtly. Historians might analyze how sounds reflect economic shifts, like increased activity during boom years post-revolution. For artists, it inspires sketches or poems capturing the essence with the audio as muse. In wellness retreats, group sessions could synchronize breathing to the waves, fostering communal calm. These expansions show the soundscape's potential as a multifaceted tool. They invite creative uses while keeping the core relaxing. As we encourage deeper engagement, remember to pace yourself, starting with short imaginative bursts to avoid mental fatigue. Much like gradual immersion in cold water, historical seafarers built tolerance to noise over voyages, a model for building your comfort with the bustle. If thoughts wander, gently redirect to a single sound like a creaking mast, using it as a focal point for mindfulness. Share experiences online to connect with others, building a community around this niche relaxation method. This communal aspect adds warmth without obligation. It enriches the solo journey subtly. Potential applications also include sleep training, where the consistent rhythms help regulate circadian patterns, akin to how harbor dwellers sensed with tides. For insomniacs, the non-looping variations prevent monotony, offering fresh listens each time. In creative writing workshops, it sets the mood for drafting sea tales, enhancing output through ambience. For remote workers, it combats isolation by simulating a populated yet distant environment. These practical integrations make history a living aid. They underscore its timeless utility. Encouraging beyond passive suggests experimenting with volume levels to find your sweet spot, where the bustle is present but not intrusive, reflecting personal thresholds like those of sensitive-eared lighthouse keepers. Visualize color palettes from the air grays of fog, blues of water to complement the audio mentally. This synesthetic approach deepens immersion safely. For advanced users, layer in soft narration from historical texts, but keep it minimal to preserve purity. Such customizations empower ownership of the experience. They evolve it from generic to bespoke. Wrapping this guidance, reflect on how these suggestions and applications transform the harbor soundscape into your personal portal, blending history with modern needs seamlessly. From headphones in a quiet space to imaginative scenes and diverse uses, it's all about gentle enhancement. As you journey into the bustle, let it carry you effortlessly. Now, with this foundation, we can explore the science underpinning its relaxing effects. This smooth shift maintains our calming narrative flow. Having explored the ways to guide your immersion and the various applications of this harbor soundscape, let us now delve deeper into encouraging active yet effortless engagement, where your imagination becomes the captain steering through the misty waters of history. Envision the subtle shifts in the sounds as invitations to paint mental pictures, turning distant shouts into stories of sailors sharing tales from far-off lands. This subsection will build on the foundation of passive listening by suggesting gentle ways to interact with the audio, always keeping the experience relaxed and optional. As you settle in, allow these ideas to float by like buoys in the harbor. There if you wish to grasp them but never demanding your attention. With this calm progression, we continue to enrich your journey without altering the soothing core of the soundscape. To encourage going beyond mere hearing, start by focusing on one layer at a time, such as isolating the creak of ships, to imagine the weight of cargo being shifted by callous hands in ports, like Boston during the height of the China trade. Historical manifests detail how these sounds accompanied the unloading of porcelain and silks, providing a factual anchor for your visualizations that feels authentic yet undemanding. Gradually expand to include water lapping, picturing the ripples caused by rowboats ferrying passengers ashore, much as immigrants arrive in waves throughout the 1800s. This layered approach builds immersion incrementally, similar to how artists sketch outlines before adding color, ensuring no overwhelm in the process. Over time, such focused engagement can deepen relaxation, turning the soundscape into a tool for creative mindfulness. It honors the era's maritime heritage while adapting it for modern mental respite. Another way to engage actively is through journaling your impressions after a session. noting how the muffled voices evoke the diversity of harbor workers, from Scandinavian whalers to African American stevedores, contributing to the economic mosaic of cities like New York. Period newspapers often highlighted this multicultural bustle, offering real insights that you can weave into your reflections without research if preferred. Describe the emotions stirred by the rhythms, perhaps a sense of adventure tempered by the steady calm of waves, mirroring the dual nature of seafaring life. Share these entries privately or in online communities dedicated to ambient history, fostering a sense of connection akin to letters exchanged between distant ports. This practice not only enhances retention of the experience but also promotes emotional release, making it ideal for evening unwinding. Ultimately, it transforms listening into a personal narrative, gently personalized. For those inclined toward light interactivity, consider sensing simple movements with the sounds, like swaying gently to the imagined rocking of a docked vessel. Reminiscent of how captains pace decks while overseeing operations in harbors such as Charleston. Nautical logs describe these habitual motions as ways to attune to the ship's pulse, a concept we adapt here for grounded relaxation exercises. Keep actions minimal, perhaps tapping fingers to the rhythm of distant hammering on repairs to avoid shifting from calm to activity. This kinesthetic element can aid in releasing physical tension, much like yoga poses inspired by natural flows without requiring formal practice. Over sessions, it builds a bodily memory of the harbor's tranquility, enhancing overall well-being. Such subtle integration keeps the journey introspective and restorative. Potential applications expand into therapeutic realms. The soundscape supports guided imagery for stress reduction, envisioning yourself as a quiet observer on the wharf watching the sun rise. Over masted silhouettes, therapists drawing from historical biofeedback methods note how rhythmic audio can lower heart rates, paralleling the calming effect of ocean views on 1800s convalescents in coastal sanatoriums. Use it in sessions to process daily worries, letting the bustle represent life's ebb and flow in a manageable auditory form. Combined with aromatherapy like subtle sea salt scents to multi-sensory effect without complexity. This application underscores the soundscape's versatility as a wellness companion. Accessible to all, it bridges historical ambience with contemporary self-care seamlessly. In educational contexts beyond basic role-playing, educators can use the soundscape to immerse students in lessons on the Industrial Revolution's impact on ports, imagining the transition from sail to steam through evolving sound layers. Curriculum guides from historical societies suggest pairing audio with maps of expanding trade routes, allowing learners to hear the growth of empires like the American Clipper Fleet. Encourage group discussions post-listen, sharing visualized scenarios to build empathy with past lives. Much as oral histories preserve sailor lore for homeschoolers, it serves as a backdrop for reading primary sources, enhancing comprehension without visual aids. This method makes history tangible yet soothing. Ideal for varied learning styles, it fosters curiosity in a non-pressured environment. Encouraging further, try associating personal memories with the sounds, such as recalling a childhood boat trip and overlaying it onto the 1800s creaks, creating a timeless blend that personalizes the immersion. Mars from era travelers often mix nostalgia with present observations, a technique that adds emotional depth here. Note how this fusion evokes feelings of continuity, reminding us that human experiences echo across centuries. Share anonymized insights and forums to inspire others, building a virtual harbor community. This reflective practice enhances the soundscape's replay value, keeping it fresh. It turns history into a mirror for self-exploration. For creative souls, the bustle can inspire poetry or sketches, capturing the essence of foghorn echoes or sail shadows in freeform expression during or after listening. Artistic journals from 1800s ports reveal how sounds fueled maritime literature from Cooper to Poe, offering models for your own gentle creations. Keep outputs low-key, perhaps a haiku on wave rhythms to maintain relaxation. Display them as personal mementos, reinforcing positive associations. This application channels the soundscape into artistic therapy, beneficial for mental health. It celebrates the era's inspirational power quietly. In meditation extensions, use the human calls as mantras, repeating them internally to focus the mind amid the natural backdrop, akin to chants used by monastic sailors on long voyages. Spiritual texts from the period describe these sounds as divine symphonies guiding contemplation. This elevates passive listening to spiritual practice without dogma. Adjust duration to fit your routine, starting brief. Over time, it cultivates inner peace, drawing from historical resilience. Such depth adds layers to your journey. Applications also include ambient enhancement for reading historical fiction, where the sounds complement narratives of sea adventures, immersing you deeper without distraction. Authors like O'Brien drew from real port ambiences, making this pairing authentic. It aids concentration for book clubs or solo dives into classics. For audiobooks, layer softly underneath for a hybrid experience. This use revives literature through senses. It calmly enriches cultural appreciation. To encourage community, suggest hosting virtual listen-alongs, where friends sync the soundscape and share imaginings via text, echoing salon discussions in 1800s taverns near docks. Social history shows harbors as gathering spots, inspiring this modern adaptation. Keep interactions light to preserve solitude if desired. This builds bonds through shared history. It expands the soundscape's reach socially. Such engagement sustains interest long term. For wellness tracking, loghouse sessions affect sleep quality, noting patterns like quicker drift off with wave focuses, supported by sleep studies on rhythmic noise. Historical remedies included sea air for insomnia. Paralleling this, use apps to monitor without effort. Adjust based on insights for optimization. This data-driven approach personalizes benefits. It turns relaxation into a measurable habit, encouraging sensory expansion. Imagine textures like rough hemp ropes or smooth barrel with sensing with creaks, drawn from artifact descriptions in museums. This tactile visualization adds dimension safely. It's rooted in sensory history practices, enhanced with soft fabrics and hand. Such details vivify the scene gently. They deepen immersion. Without props, in professional settings, used for focus blocks, blocking modern noise with historical bustle, as executives in air accounting houses did amid port din. Productivity research affirms ambient sound's role. It suits remote work seamlessly. Customize volume for tasks. This application boosts efficiency calmly. It adapts past to present needs. As we conclude this encouragement toward active engagement, reflect on how these suggestions weave imagination, application, and personalization into your harbor journey, always prioritizing ease. From focus layers to creative outlets, it's about enhancing without effort. Let these ideas linger as you wish now. Transitioning smoothly, we explore the final facets of your immersion. This sets the stage for scientific insights ahead. Having built upon the gentle encouragement for active engagement with the harbor soundscape, let us now conclude your journey into the bustle by exploring advanced yet serene ways to integrate this historical ambience into your daily rituals, allowing it to become a steadfast companion in your quest for peace. Imagine the sounds not as fleeting visitors, but as woven threads in the fabric of your routine. Much like how the steady harbor rhythms anchored the lives of 1800s merchants and mariners, this final subsection of the segment will offer thoughtful extensions, ensuring the immersion evolves naturally without any rush or requirement. As you relax further, consider these ideas as soft waves lapping at the shore of your consciousness, ready to recede if you prefer simplicity. With this in mind, we gently proceed to deepen the personal connection you've begun to foster. One advanced integration involves creating themed listening playlists that alternate the harbor sounds with complementary ambient tracks, such as faint period music from sea shanties recorded in soft, Acoustic renditions evoking the evenings when sailors gathered in taverns near docks and cities, like Philadelphia. Historical anthologies preserve these melodies as work aids that harmonize with the natural bustle, and in your modern adaptation, they can extend sessions for prolonged relaxation without monotony. Start by curating short sequences, perhaps 10 minutes of pure harbor followed by a gentle fade into a lute or fiddle tune, mirroring the transition from day to night in bustling ports. This method not only sustains interest but also aids in transitioning to sleep, as the combined rhythms mimic the winding down of activity described in Captain's logs. Over time, such playlists can become personalized anchors, much like navigational charts for your inner calm. They transform the soundscape into a versatile ritual adaptable to moods or times of day. For those seeking deeper historical ties, pair the listening with virtual tours of preserved harbors via apps or websites, visualizing real sites like Mystic Seaport while the audio plays, blending digital recreations with our soundscape for a multi-sensory escape. Accounts from 1800s visitors detail the sensory overload of these places, but here we temper it to focus on tranquility, using the tours to inform your mental imagery without visual overstimulation. Select low-light modes on devices to maintain a restful atmosphere, allowing the creaks and calls to sync with on-screen ships rocking at anchor. This integration educates subtly on architectural evolutions, such as the shift from wooden to iron hulls, while keeping the experience passive and soothing. It fosters a sense of time travel that's grounded yet ethereal, enhancing emotional resonance. Ultimately, it enriches your journey without demanding active navigation. Incorporate the soundscape into Mindfulness app's custom sessions, where you set timers aligned with tidal cycles researched from era almanacs, promoting breathwork sense to wave patterns for enhanced meditation. Nautical traditions included similar attunements to nature's tempos, aiding sailors in maintaining composure during storms, a practice we soften here for everyday use. Adjust app notifications to minimal, ensuring the harbor's gentle bustle remains the focal point amid guided prompts for reflection. This tech-assisted approach can track progress and relaxation metrics, offering quiet insights into how the sounds influence your state over weeks. It bridges analog history, the digital tool seamlessly, making immersion accessible even on the go. Such fusion honors the enduring appeal of maritime serenity in a contemporary context. Extend applications to creative hobbies like knitting or drawing, where the rhythmic noises provide a backdrop that mirrors the repetitive tasks of net mending. Or ledger keeping in 1800s port warehouses. Diaries from artisans of the time note how ambient sounds enhanced focus, benefit you can reclaim by letting creaks punctuate your stitches or sketches. Choose projects with nautical themes such as wave patterns to deepen thematic ties without effort. This hobby integration turns downtime into productive yet relaxing intervals. Reducing screen time naturally over sessions, it builds a habitual flow state, akin to the zone experienced by longshoremen in their daily labors. It elevates mundane activities into historical echoes, fostering contentment. For communal experiences, share the soundscape in small gatherings, like family story hours where elders recount tales over the audio, evoking the oral traditions passed in harborside inns during the era of westward expansion. Social histories highlight how such settings built community bonds, and today, it can strengthen relationships through shared calm without high energy. Keep volumes low to encourage whispered conversations, allowing the bustle to fill silences gently. This application suits holidays or quiet evenings, promoting intergenerational connections. It transforms solitary listening into a collective balm, soothing multiple minds at once. Such shared journeys amplify the soundscape's warming effects. Advanced personalization might include recording your own soft narrations over the sounds, describing imagined scenes from a first-person view as a dock observer in 1800s Savannah, drawing from period novels for authenticity. Literary works like those of Dana provide phrasing inspirations, Keep neutral and descriptive to avoid excitement. Use simple voice memo tools, layering your words sparingly to complement rather than dominate the audio. This creates bespoke versions that evolve with your preferences, enhancing ownership. It encourages self-expression in a low-stakes way, therapeutic for introspection. Ultimately, it makes the harbor uniquely yours. In wellness routines, blend with essential oils mimicking sea breezes or with scents, researched from botanical records of port trades. To engage smell alongside hearing for fuller immersion, apothecary logs from the time list such aromas as common, aiding in this sensory layering without complexity. Diffuse lightly during listens to evoke the full environment, promoting deeper muscle relaxation. This holistic approach aligns with historical remedies for seafarer fatigue, adapted gently. It heightens the restorative power, making sessions more impactful. Such enhancements sustain long-term use effectively. For learning extensions, use the soundscape as an aid for memorizing historical facts, associating dates like the 1812 naval engagements with specific sound cues, much as mnemonics helped apprentices in shipyards. Educational treatises suggest auditory links strengthen recall. Applied here passively during relaxation. Quiz yourself mentally amid the bustle, keeping it light to preserve calm. This turns downtime into subtle study, ideal for enthusiasts. It merges education with rest seamlessly. The method respects cognitive limits, avoiding strain. Community building can involve contributing to online archives by sharing how the sounds inspire you. Perhaps uploading anonymized ambient mixes, echoing the collaborative spirit of 1800s merchant guilds. Digital platforms mirror those networks, fostering exchanges without pressure. Engage minimally, reading others' ideas to spark your own. This widens the soundscape's influence, creating a virtual society of appreciators. It adds a layer of belonging, comforting in isolation. Such participation sustains motivation gently. In therapeutic adaptations, consult professionals to incorporate into protocols for sound sensitivity training, where the controlled bustle helps desensitize gradually. Drawing from historical accounts of adapting to noisy ports, medical histories note similar. Acclimations informing safe modern uses start with short exposures. Monitoring comfort levels, this specialized application supports specific needs. Expanding accessibility, it underscores the soundscape's healing potential professionals ensure. Tailored benefits. For artistic pursuits, compose minimalistic music inspired by the layers. Using free software to echo creaks with strings reminiscent of folk tunes born in harbor settings. Musical ethnographies preserve these origins. Guiding your creations softly, keep compositions ambient. For personal enjoyment or sharing in niche circles, this channels creativity therapeutically. Releasing tensions, it honors musical heritage calmly. The process enriches your engagement depth. Advanced tracking could involve apps logging mood pre- and post-listen, correlating with sound elements like voice volumes. Based on psychological studies of historical ambiences, research from era diaries provides baselines for comparison. Though kept informal here, use insights to refine sessions, optimizing for peak relaxation. This empirical touch personalizes further. Empowering users, it transforms intuition into informed practice. Such evolution keeps the journey fresh. In conclusion of this segment, reflect on how these integrations from playlists to artistic outlets complete your journey into the harbor's bustle, offering endless paths while always centering calm. You've now tools to make it your own, gently and at will. As the sounds linger in your mind, we transition smoothly to the science behind their relaxing power. This shift invites curiosity without haste. Let the echoes guide you onward. Having wrapped up the explorations of your personal journey into the harbor's gentle bustle, let us now shift our focus to the underlying science that makes this soundscape such an effective conduit for relaxation, examining how its elements align with human physiology in subtle, profound ways. Picture the brain as a quiet harbor itself, where waves of sound dock and unload their calming cargo, influencing neural pathways much like tides shape the shoreline over time. This segment will unpack the mechanisms at play, from frequencies to psychological responses, always in a measured tone that invites contemplation rather than analysis. As we proceed, recall the rhythmic creaks and lapping waters you've imagined, and consider how they interact with your inner world to foster peace. With this foundation, we begin by exploring the role of specific frequencies and patterns in promoting a state of calm. The science of sound and relaxation starts with understanding how low-frequency elements, like the deep groans of wooden ships, resonate with the body's natural rhythms to induce a parasympathetic response. In the 1800s harbor, these creaks often fell within the 20 to 100 Hz range, frequencies that studies show can synchronize with alpha brain waves, associated with relaxed wakefulness, much as biofeedback research demonstrates in modern labs. This alignment helps reduce cortisol levels, the hormone tied to stress, allowing listeners to experience a gentle easing of tension similar to how sailors found respite amid familiar ship sounds after long voyages. Moreover, the repetitive nature of these low tones mimics binaural beats, where slight variations between ears create an illusory rhythm that encourages mental drift without conscious effort. Historical anecdotes from port physicians note how such ambient noises aided recovery from fatigue, precursor to today's sound therapy practices. Ultimately, this frequency layer forms the bedrock of the soundscape's soothing power, grounding the mind in a historical echo of tranquility. Complementing these low frequencies are the mid-range sounds of distant shouts and calls, which operate around 200 to 500 Hz and contribute to a sense of structured activity that paradoxically enhances focus and calm. Psychological studies on auditory environments reveal that moderate human vocalizations, when muffled and non-intrusive, activate the brain's default mode network, promoting introspection without alerting the fight or flight system. In the context of an 1800s port, these voices reflected communal efforts in trade and survival, providing a subtle narrative that modern listeners interpret as white noise enriched with meaning. Research from environmental psychology labs indicates that such pattern sounds improve cognitive performance by masking distractions, much like how dockworkers concentrated amid the bustle. This balance prevents sensory overload, allowing the soundscape to serve as a bridge between alertness and repose. In essence, it harnesses the human affinity for social cues in a diluted form, fostering emotional security. Higher frequencies, such as the occasional whistle of wind through rigging or go cries in the 1000 to 4000 Hz band, add delicate accents that stimulate mild arousal to prevent monotony, ensuring sustained relaxation over time. Acoustic neuroscience shows that these sporadic highs release small dopamine hits akin to natural rewards, which reinforce the listening habit without escalating to excitement. Drawing from historical weather logs, these elements varied with conditions in ports like Boston, creating a dynamic yet predictable auditory landscape that mirrored circadian rhythms. Studies on sound therapy for insomnia highlight how such variations train the brain to associate the pattern with winding down, similar to Pavlovian conditioning in controlled experiments. This layer keeps the experience engaging for awake minds while gently lulling those ready for sleep. It underscores the soundscape's adaptability, blending science with historical authenticity. Rhythmic patterns inherent in the harbor sounds, such as the cyclical lapping of waves tied to tidal cycles, tap into the body's entrainment mechanisms, where external tempos synchronize internal clocks for better rest. Chronobiology research explains how these 10 to 30 second intervals align with respiratory and heart rates, promoting coherence that reduces anxiety as measured by heart rate variability metrics. In the early American era, harbors operated on natural schedules dictated by moon phases and winds, patterns that inadvertently supported the well-being of residents through consistent exposure. Modern EEG studies confirm that exposure to such rhythms increases theta wave activity, linked to creativity and pre-sleep states without the need for guided interventions. This entrainment effect explains why the soundscape feels intuitively comforting, echoing evolutionary adaptations to natural environments. Overall, it transforms passive noise into a biological ally for relaxation. Delving deeper, the psychological benefits of white noise stem from its ability to create a uniform auditory field that drowns out erratic thoughts. But historical ambient sounds like our harbor differ by incorporating meaningful variations. Cognitive psychology posits that pure white noise generated by random frequencies can feel sterile, whereas layered historical recreations engage the subconscious narrative centers, reducing rumination as shown in mindfulness trials. The 1800s bustle, with its blend of natural and human elements, provides this enriched noise floor, helping listeners process emotions indirectly through imagined scenes. Experiments in sound labs demonstrate lower amygdala activation at the fear center when exposed to contextual ambiances versus synthetic ones, fostering a sense of safety. This distinction highlights why the harbor's soundscape outperforms generic alternatives. For long-term use, it connects personal history with collective past, amplifying therapeutic outcomes. Historical ambient sounds also leverage the concept of ASMR, or autonomous sensory meridian response, where soft, repetitive triggers like water splashes evoke tingling relaxation in susceptible individuals, though not formally studied until recently. Accounts from 1800s diarists describe similar sensations from harbor vigils, suggesting an innate human response to these cues. Neuroimaging reveals increased activity in reward pathways during ASMR episodes, releasing oxytocin for bonding and calm, much like social grooming in primates. In our soundscape, elements like faint chain clinks or rope creak serve as triggers, carefully mixed to evoke without intensity. This phenomenon explains the soundscape's appeal for sleep induction, bridging sensory science with historical immersion. It offers a gentle, non-pharmacological path to unwinding, connecting the past to present wellness. The timeless appeal of natural and structured sounds lies in their ability to restore attention through the attention restoration theory, where underacted fascination replenishes mental resources. Environmental psychologists note that harbor-like ambiances with their soft complexity provide this fascination, contrasting with urban cacophony that depletes focus. In the 1800s, ports served as restorative spaces for city dwellers escaping industrial noise, a role our recreation revives digitally. Longitudinal studies show improved mood and cognitive function through exposure to nature-inspired audio, linking it to reduced burnout rates. This theory underscores the soundscape's value in modern wellness routines, from yoga to therapy. It reaffirms sound's role as a conduit between eras, promoting holistic balance. The binaural aspects of the soundscape, simulating spatial audio, enhance relaxation by engaging the brain's orienting response in a non-threatening way, fostering presence without vigilance. Auditory localization studies reveal how stereo panning of waves and voices activates the superior colliculus, improving spatial awareness that grounds the listener. Historical harbors naturally provided this 3D sound field, aiding navigation and social interaction for inhabitants in contemporary applications. This setup reduces feelings of disconnection. As virtual reality audio research indicates, it creates an immersive bubble that shields from external stressors effectively. Such spatial science elevates the experience beyond mono playback. Rhythmic entertainment extends to hormonal regulation, where consistent patterns like ship rocking influence melatonin production for better sleep onset. Sleep science labs have measured increased delta waves, deep sleep markers after rhythmic audio sessions, paralleling effects seen in oceanside retreats. The 1800s reliance on natural cycles prefigured this, with sailors reporting sound arrests amid familiar harbor noises. This biological sync explains the soundscape's efficacy for jet lag or shift work recovery. It harnesses evolution's legacy for contemporary needs gently. The connection fortifies wellness practices rooted in history. Psychologically, the structured sounds differ from white noise by offering narrative potential, which engages the imagination to process unresolved emotions, leading to cathartic release. Therapy models like narrative exposure use similar techniques, where ambient backdrops facilitate story integration without trauma reactivation. In our context, the harbor's bustle subtly evokes tales of trade and travel, allowing listeners to project personal struggles onto historical figures for perspective. Studies on music therapy analogs show reduced depression scores through such indirect engagement. This benefit positions the soundscape as a tool for emotional hygiene. It blends science with subtle storytelling for healing. The appeal of natural sounds ties to biophilia, the innate human affinity for lifelike environments, where harbor elements evoke ecosystems that lower blood pressure as per ecopsychology findings. Biometric data from nature sound exposures confirm vasodilation and relaxed musculature, effects amplified by historical authenticity. Ports in the 1800s embodied this biophilic design, inadvertently blending sea and society. This theory explains the soundscape's draw for urban dwellers seeking reconnection. It promotes sustainability and wellness by drawing from the past. Such integration fosters long-term health habits. Frequencies in the soundscape also modulate autonomic nervous system balance, shifting from sympathetic dominance to parasympathetic rest. As heart coherence research illustrates, biosensors track this shift during listens, showing synchronized breathing with wave patterns. Historical wellness practices like seaside cures leveraged similar dynamics intuitively. This autonomic tuning reduces chronic stress markers effectively. It makes the soundscape a proactive relaxation aid. The science validates its timeless efficacy. In wrapping this exploration of frequencies and patterns, reflect on how these scientific principles underpin the harbor's calming symphony, turning historical echoes into modern sanctuary. From brain waves to biophilia, it's a harmonious blend. As understanding deepens, so does appreciation. Now, we gently expand to broader psychological benefits. This transition maintains our soothing narrative, having gently unpacked the roles of specific frequencies and rhythmic patterns in fostering relaxation through our harbor soundscape. Let us now broaden our view to the psychological benefits, what is often termed white noise, and how the enriched layers of historical ambient sounds set them apart in meaningful ways. Imagine your mind as a vast ocean where uniform noise acts as a steady current, but the nuanced harbor bustle adds subtle eddies that guide thoughts toward serenity without force. This subsection will explore these distinctions, drawing on cognitive and emotional sciences to illustrate why such recreations offer a deeper, more resonant calm. As we delve in, consider how the muffled echoes of 1800s ports can mirror internal processes, promoting mental restoration in the midst of modern chaos. With this reflective lens, we proceed to examine the foundational appeal of white noise and its evolution through historical context. The psychological benefits of white noise begin with its capacity to mask intrusive thoughts and environmental distractions, creating a neutral auditory canvas that allows the brain to disengage from overstimulation. Studies in cognitive psychology demonstrate that broadband sounds, like the hiss of static, elevate the perceptual threshold for erratic noises, reducing cognitive load as measured by improved performance in attention tasks under controlled conditions. In everyday terms, this effect helps individuals in noisy urban settings find focus, much as early American port dwellers tuned out the cacophony of arriving vessels to concentrate on ledgers or repairs. Furthermore, white noise has been linked to enhanced sleep quality in clinical trials, where participants report fewer awakenings due to its consistent spectral density, drowning out sudden disturbances. This masking property fosters a sense of auditory security, enabling the mind to enter restorative states more readily. Overall, it serves as a simple yet effective tool for mental hygiene in a world filled with sonic interruptions. However, historical ambient sounds like our 1800s harbor differ profoundly from pure white noise by incorporating variability and context, which engage the brain's narrative processing centers for a more immersive psychological experience. Neuropsychological research indicates that while synthetic noise provides baseline calm, contextual ambiences activate the hippocampus and prefrontal cortex, regions involved in memory and emotional regulation, leading to greater reductions in anxiety scores. Creaks and calls in a port setting evoke subtle stories of human endeavor, allowing listeners to project personal reflections onto the audio without conscious effort. Akin to daydreaming, this engagement prevents the sterility often associated with uniform noise, as evidenced by user feedback and sound therapy apps favoring nature-based variants. Consequently, it cultivates a deeper emotional connection, transforming relaxation into a mildly therapeutic journey. Such differentiation highlights why historical recreations resonate more profoundly. For long-term use, one key psychological advantage lies in the promotion of mindfulness through structured, yet organic patterns. When harbors rhythms encourage present moment awareness without guided instruction, mindfulness studies show that exposure to repetitive natural sounds decreases rumination, the repetitive focus on negative thoughts. By redirecting attention to external cues as tracked via functional MRI scans. In the context of 1800s harbors, the predictable yet varied bustle waves followed by distant shouts mirrors meditative practices, helping users achieve a flow state, similar to those reported in Zen traditions adapted from seafaring cultures. This passive mindfulness aids in stress resilience, with longitudinal data indicating lower burnout rates among regular listeners. To ambient historical audio, it empowers individuals to reclaim mental space gently, fostering self-efficacy and managing daily pressures. Thus, the soundscape becomes a bridge to introspective calm rooted in timeless auditory designs. Another benefit emerges from the sense of temporal escapism that historical sounds provide, allowing the psyche to detach from contemporary worries by immersing in a reconstructed past. Psychological escapism theory posits that such diversions replenish mental resources depleted by modern demands, with surveys revealing improved mood post-exposure to period-specific ambiences over neutral noise. The 1800s port evokes an era of simpler mechanics sail, and our over-engine offering a metaphorical retreat, where listeners can mentally wander fog-shrouded docks free from digital pings. This detachment reduces perceived time pressure, as cognitive experiments demonstrate slowed subjective time perception. Amid rhythmic historical audio, it nurtures a restorative nostalgia, balancing acknowledgement of progress with appreciation for bygone rhythms. In turn, this enhances overall psychological well-being, making the soundscape a subtle antidote to temporal anxiety, connecting the past to present wellness. The timeless appeal of natural and structured sounds rests in their ability to evoke biophilic responses, an innate human affinity for life-affirming environments that lowers physiological stress markers. Evolutionary psychology suggests that sounds mimicking ancestral settings like coastal hubs trigger relaxation pathways honed over millennia. Cortisol reductions observed in lab settings simulating such scenes. In early American ports, the blend of water, wood, and voices represented communal vitality. Equality or recreation captures to foster feelings of belonging in isolated modern lives. Wellness programs incorporating similar audio report heightened life satisfaction, linking it to increased serotonin activity. This biophilic connection reaffirms sound's role in holistic health transcending eras. It invites a gentle reconnection with human heritage through auditory means. Furthermore, Historical sounds differentiate by providing a subtle cognitive challenge that prevents habituation. The diminishing returns from repeated white noise exposure. Habituation studies reveal that varied ambiences maintain efficacy longer, as the brain remains mildly engaged without fatigue, evidenced by sustained alpha wave production and EEG monitoring. The harbor's evolving layers shifting with imagined tides keep the experience novel, much like how port routines adapted to weather, sustaining interest for chronic users. This variability supports neuroplasticity, the preliminary research indicating improved adaptability and stress responses among habitual listeners. It positions the soundscape as a dynamic wellness tool, evolving with the user. Such science-backed endurance ensures lasting benefits. The psychological edge also includes enhanced emotional regulation. The neutral yet evocative tones help process feelings indirectly, akin to background music in therapy sessions. Emotion-focused research shows that ambient historical audio facilitates mood stabilization by providing a non-judgmental sonic backdrop, reducing volatility as per self-reported scales. Drawing from 1800s harbor life, where sound signified stability amid uncertainty, it offers modern parallels for coping with change. Clinical applications note its utility in anxiety management, complementing cognitive behavioral techniques. This regulatory function deepens relaxation's depth, making it multifaceted. It transforms sound into an emotional ally. In present wellness paradigms, the structured sounds connect to restorative attention theory, where fascination with harbor details replenishes directed attention fatigue by tasks. Environmental psychology labs confirm that such underacted engagement restores focus. That performance boosts post-exposure compared to silence or white noise. Ports historically served as observational havens, inspiring this effect digitally. It aids in combating attention deficits prevalent today, promoting sustained concentration. This theoretical link solidifies the soundscape's practical value. It weaves past tranquility into future habits. White noise's benefits extend to creativity enhancement, but historical variants amplify this by sparking associative thinking through contextual cues. Creativity metrics and divergent thinking tests rise with enriched audio as the brain links creaks to stories, fostering idea generation without pressure. In the 1800s, harbors inspired inventors and writers, a legacy our soundscape revives for modern creators. This boost supports wellness by encouraging self-expression, reducing stagnation. It enriches personal growth gently. The distinction elevates historical sounds creatively. The timeless appeal includes social mimicry, where distant voices simulate companionship, alleviating loneliness per social psychology findings. Isolation studies show reduced perceived aloneness with human-infused noise, mirroring port community supportive din. This subtle presence aids mental health in solitary settings. With wellness apps incorporating similar features, it connects individual calm to collective echoes. Such integration broadens appeal universally. It honors human social needs auditorily. Differing from white noise, historical sounds leverage schema activation, where familiar patterns from media or education prime relaxing associations, enhancing efficacy. Schema theory explains quicker onset of calm through pre-existing mental models of harbors. As memory research illustrates, this priming connects past knowledge to present relief seamlessly. It makes the experience intuitive and effective. The psychological layering adds sophistication. It refines relaxation science historically. In wellness connections, structured sound supports circadian alignment, the rhythmic cues aiding sleep-wake cycles disrupted by artificial light. Quantum psychology notes improved entrainment with NAT, neural patterns echoing 1800s tidal lives. This promotes consistent rest, vital for mental health. It links ancestral rhythms to modern recovery. The appeal endures through biological resonance. Such science grounds the timeless draw, As we conclude this subsection on psychological benefits, reflect on how white noise's foundations evolved through historical depth, offering enriched calm that bridges eras in wellness. From masking to biophilia, it's a tapestry of mental support. Appreciation grows with insight. Now, we transition to connecting past and present more fully. This flow sustains our exploratory calm, having broadened our understanding of the psychological distinctions between white noise and the enriched layers of historical ambient sounds. Let us now connect these insights more fully to the realm of present-day wellness, exploring how the timeless appeal of natural and structured sounds like those in our 1800s harbor soundscape continues to nurture well-being across centuries. Envision the threads of history weaving into the fabric of modern life, where the gentle creaks of wooden ships and the lapping of waves offer a bridge from past simplicities to contemporary self-care practices. This subsection will illuminate these connections, highlighting how such auditory experiences draw from enduring human needs for rhythm and resonance in an increasingly fragmented world. As you listen to the subtle bustle in your mind, consider how it echoes the universal quest for balance, inviting a quiet reflection on wellness that spans eras without haste. With this harmonious perspective, we gently proceed to uncover the links that make these sounds eternally relevant. Connecting the past to present wellness begins with recognizing how natural sounds, rooted in environments like early American harbors, tap into our evolutionary heritage to promote restorative states in today's high-stress society. Evolutionary biologists note that humans have long sought solace in water-based ambiences, as ancestral survival often depended on coastal rhythms that signaled safety and abundance. Much like the predictable tides in ports such as New York during the 1800s, in modern wellness apps and therapies, these sounds are repurposed to counteract the discord of urban noise pollution, with studies showing reduced heart rates and improved mood among users exposed to simulated natural patterns. This continuity underscores a biological imperative for auditory harmony, where the harbor's structured bustle serves as a digital remedy for disconnection from nature. By embracing these echoes, contemporary practices like sound baths or ambient meditation sessions revive age-old comforts, fostering resilience against daily pressures. Ultimately, it reveals wellness as a timeless dialogue between body and environment, amplified through historical fidelity. The appeal of structured sounds lies in their ability to instill a sense of order amid chaos, a quality that 1800s harbor life exemplified through the coordinated symphony of loading, sailing, and resting that modern wellness seeks to emulate. Historical records from port communities describe how the rhythmic activities provided psychological anchors during uncertain times, such as trade embargoes or storms, paralleling how today's structured audio helps manage anxiety in fast-paced professions. Wellness research from institutions like the Mayo Clinic highlights how repetitive patterns in soundscapes enhance focus and emotional stability, drawing direct lines to the era's maritime routines that balanced labor with lull. In present applications, this translates to productivity tools where harbor-like ambiences boost concentration without stimulants, offering a non-invasive alternative to caffeine or medication. This structured timelessness encourages habits like daily listening rituals, mirroring the habitual dockside reflections of yesteryear's workers. In essence, it positions historical sounds as foundational elements in building sustainable wellness frameworks. Natural sounds' enduring charm also stems from their capacity to evoke mindfulness, connecting the introspective quiet of 1800s harbor vigils to current practices that emphasize presence and gratitude. Sailors' journals often recount moments of contemplation amid the waves, a precursor to mindfulness exercises that use similar audio to ground practitioners in the now, reducing the mental clutter of digital distractions. Contemporary studies in positive psychology affirm that exposure to organic rhythms increases self-reported happiness levels, linking it to the release of endorphins akin to those experienced in nature immersion therapies. By integrating harbor recreations into yoga or journaling routines, users bridge historical serenity with personal growth, cultivating a deeper appreciation for life's cycles. This connection fosters long-term wellness by encouraging adaptive coping strategies, much as port dwellers adapted to seasonal changes. It transforms sound from mere background to a mindful companion enriching daily existence. Furthermore, the wellness link manifests in sleep hygiene, where the harbor's gentle undulations echo ancient lullabies of the sea, now validated by sleep science as effective aids for insomnia. In our screen-saturated age, period accounts from lighthouse keepers detail how nocturnal harbor noises facilitated restful slumber, phenomenon replicated in modern biohacking where rhythmic audio regulates circadian rhythms, disrupted by artificial light. Clinical trials demonstrate improved sleep architecture, deeper REM cycles with natural sound interventions, drawing parallels to the era's unmechanized nights that align human rest with tidal flows. In today's wellness landscape, this translates to bedtime protocols incorporating such soundscapes, helping shift workers or parents reclaim restorative sleep without pharmaceuticals. This timeless strategy highlights sound's role in holistic health, promoting prevention over cure. It reaffirms the harbor as a sanctuary for rejuvenation across time. Structured sounds connect to communal wellness, evoking the shared harbor experiences of 1800s immigrants and traders that fostered social bonds, now adapted in group therapy or virtual communities, centered around ambient listening. Social psychology research indicates that collective exposure to harmonious audio strengthens interpersonal connections, reducing isolation as seen in online wellness forums sharing historical soundscapes. In the past, ports served as melting pots where diverse voices blended in the bustle, offering emotional support that modern adaptations recreate through shared playlists or retreats. This communal appeal enhances mental health outcomes, with data showing decreased loneliness metrics among participants in sound-based group activities. By drawing on this heritage, present wellness initiatives build inclusive spaces for healing, honoring historical resilience. It weaves individual calm into broader social fabrics, enduringly vital. The natural elements appeal includes bioregulation, where harbor waves and winds mimic breathing exercises prescribed in ancient wellness traditions, now supported by respiratory therapy studies. For anxiety relief, breathing synchronization with audio patterns, as practiced by 1800s fishermen during downtime, lowers vagal tone for calm, a technique echoed in biofeedback devices today. Wellness experts link this to reduced inflammation markers, connecting past exposures to present anti-aging protocols. In applications like corporate wellness programs, it aids stress management, improving employee retention through simple auditory tools. This biological timelessness underscores sound's preventive power in health. It integrates seamlessly into lifestyles, bridging eras effortlessly. Connecting further, the structured harbor sounds promote cognitive longevity, countering age-related decline as historical elders in port towns stayed sharp amid familiar ambiances for gerontology insights. Neuroprotective studies show rhythmic audio preserves memory function, akin to the era's oral storytelling tradition set against bustle. In modern dementia care, such recreations stimulate recall gently, enhancing quality of life without medication. This appeal lies in sound's non-invasive nature, adaptable for all ages in wellness plans. It fosters lifelong mental agility rooted in historical patterns. The link endures through adaptive science. Natural sounds wellness tie includes hormonal balance, where serene layers like water lapping influence oxytocin release for bonding, as in 1800s family gatherings by docs now used in relationship counseling. Endocrinology research confirms mood elevation via such audio, linking to reduced depression and holistic therapies. Present applications and parenting aids use it for calming routines, echoing past nurturing practices. This hormonal harmony supports emotional wellness comprehensively. It connects personal bonds across time. The appeal remains profoundly human. In environmental wellness, the harbor evokes sustainability awareness, reminding us of pre-industrial harmonies that inspire eco-friendly habits today. As green psychology notes, historical ports balance human activity with nature, a model for modern biophilic designs and urban planning. Listening fosters eco-empathy, the studies showing increased pro-environmental behaviors post-exposure. This connection promotes planetary health alongside personal, timelessly relevant. It integrates sound into broader stewardship. The structured appeal endures ecologically. The timelessness shines in adaptive therapy, where sounds aid PTSD recovery by providing safe historical distancing. As veterans programs draw from seafaring resilience narratives, trauma research validates gradual exposure via ambient audio, paralleling 1800 survivors coping amid voyages. In wellness centers, it complements talk therapy gently. This therapeutic link highlights sound's healing universality. It bridges past traumas to present recovery. The natural structure appeals restoratively, connecting to physical wellness. Rhythmic sounds encourage movement sensing, like light walking to wave tempos rooted in 1800s dockside paces that maintain fitness. Now in exercise apps, kinesiology studies affirm improved coordination and endurance with auditory cues. This promotes active lifestyles without intensity, ideal for rehabilitation. The appeal lies in effortless integration. It links historical vitality to modern health. Structured sounds endure dynamically. As we conclude this subsection on connecting past to present wellness, reflect on how the harbor's natural and structured elements offer an eternal source of balance, weaving historical calm into today's practices for holistic nourishment, from evolution to therapy. It's a resonant continuum. Appreciation deepens the experience. Now, with this foundation, we transition to what lies beyond the harbor. This shift invites anticipation gently, as we have journeyed through the scientific underpinnings of our 1800s harbor soundscape, its profound connections to wellness across time. Let us now look gently beyond the harbor itself, contemplating what future explorations might hold in this series of historical immersions. Imagine the fading echoes of creaking ships giving way to new auditory landscapes, each one crafted with the same care to invite relaxation and quiet reflection. This final segment serves as a soft horizon, teasing expansions that could transport you to other eras and places, while fostering a sense of community around these shared experiences. As the water's lapping recedes in your mind, consider the possibilities that await, always presented in a measured way that honors the calming intent of our channel. But these thoughts drifting like distant sails, we begin by teasing some potential future historical soundscape projects that might expand upon this maritime theme. Teasing future historical soundscape projects starts with envisioning a natural progression from the bustling harbors to the serene expanses of early American frontier trails, where the soft crunch of wagon wheels on dirt paths and the distant calls of pioneers could form a new layer of ambient calm. In the 1800s, as settlers moved westward along routes like the Oregon Trail, their daily sounds included the blowing of oxen and the rustle of canvas covers, elements we could reconstruct from pioneer diaries and historical reenactments to create a rhythmic backdrop for relaxation. This expansion would maintain the authenticity of our approach, blending natural wind whispers through prairies with subtle human activities, much like the harbor's waves and shouts, to evoke a sense of steady journey without haste. Listeners might find this soundscape ideal for afternoon unwinding, as the repetitive creak of axles mirrors meditative patterns, drawing from the era's themes of perseverance and discovery. Over time, such a project could build on the harbor's success, offering a land-based counterpart that invites you to imagine vast horizons under endless skies. It represents just one thread in a tapestry of potential series growth, always prioritizing soothing fidelity. Another teased project could delve into the quiet industriousness of 19th century mill towns, capturing the hum of water-powered looms and the distant chime of factory bells in places like Lowell, Massachusetts during the early Industrial Revolution. Historical mill records describe how the steady flow of rivers drove machinery, producing a consistent thrum interspersed with workers' muffled conversations, which we might layer softly to avoid any sense of mechanical overwhelm. This soundscape would contrast the harbor's aquatic focus with terrestrial rhythms, incorporating faint echoes of spinning wheels and the splash of millraces to create a balanced auditory environment for focus or sleep. By drawing from architectural plans and labor accounts, the recreation would ensure period accuracy, allowing listeners to feel the subtle pulse of emerging industry without the era's harsher realities dominating. Such an expansion could appeal to those seeking a grounded, productive calm, echoing how mill communities found routine solace amid their labors. It hints at broadening our series to encompass America's evolving landscapes, gently evolving from coastal to inland narratives. Expanding the series might also include a foray into the ambient whispers of antebellum southern plantations, where the soft rustle of cotton fields in the breeze and the distant songs of field hands could form a contemplative soundscape, always handled with sensitivity to historical context. Plantation journals from the mid-1800s note the natural symphony of birdsong, mingling with the creak of wooden porches and the occasional toll of estate bells, elements that could be mixed to promote reflection rather than evoke tension. This project would prioritize the organic aspects, like wind through magnolia trees and the gentle flow of nearby rivers, to maintain our channel's relaxing ethos, while acknowledging the era's complexities through subtle, non-intrusive layers. Listeners could use it for evening meditation, as the rhythmic sway of foliage provides a natural metronome for breathing exercises, drawing parallels to mindfulness practices. By teasing this, we open doors to regional diversity in our soundscapes, ensuring each one builds on the harbor's foundation of immersion and peace. It underscores our commitment to exploring America's multifaceted past in ways that soothe the present. Further teasing could involve a soundscape centered on the tranquil nights of gold rush mining camps in California around 1849, featuring the faint trickle of stream panning and the crackle of campfires under starry skies reconstructed from prospector letters and geological surveys. These camps buzz softly with the clink of tools being set down at dusk and murmured conversations around hearths, creating a sparse yet warming audio palette that contrasts the harbor's denser bustle. The design would emphasize nocturnal calm, fowl calls and windswept pines adding depth without disruption, ideal for those seeking a rustic escape in their listening routines. Historical accuracy would come from artifact studies, ensuring the sounds reflect the makeshift nature of tent communities, without amplifying the rush's frenzy. This potential addition could expand our series westward, inviting listeners to envision the quiet determination of seekers in a vast wilderness. It represents an evolution toward more adventurous yet always serene historical vignettes. One more intriguing project on the horizon might recreate the subdued elegance of Victorian-era parlors in urban centers like Chicago post-1871 fire, with the soft tick of mantel clocks and the rustle of turning book pages amid gas lamp hums. Social histories detail how these spaces hosted quiet gatherings, with piano keys occasionally blinked in the background and the distant clatter of horse carriages outside, all layered gently for a refined ambient experience. This indoor focus would shift from the harbor's open-air feel to intimate domesticity, using period furniture descriptions to inform acoustic simulations that promote cozy relaxation, suitable for reading or light reflection. The soundscape could help modern audiences appreciate the era's cultural refinements through auditory subtlety. By including this tease, we hint at diversifying into urban interiors, broadening the series' appeal while staying true to calming principles. It fosters anticipation for how history's quieter corners can continue to aid contemporary rest. As we continue teasing expansions, consider a soundscape of early railroad depots in the 1860s. The distant whistle of steam engines arriving and the murmur of passengers on platforms create a transitional rhythm between stillness and motion. Railroad timetables from the transcontinental era describe the echo of footsteps on wooden boards, and the hiss of releasing steam elements mix softly to evoke anticipation without urgency. This could appeal to train enthusiasts or those seeking a sense of connected progress, with the clack of telegraph keys adding subtle punctuation to the scene. Grounded in engineering blueprints, the recreation would maintain our standard of authenticity, allowing listeners to imagine linking coast through sound alone. Such a project expands the maritime theme to overland travel, enriching the series with infrastructural history. It invites gentle curiosity about America's connective past. Another potential direction involves the peaceful dawn markets of colonial New England towns. In the late 1700s, predating our harbor focus, with the soft haggling of vendors and the creak of market stalls opening amid morning fog, town records note the aroma-mingled sounds of fresh produce being arranged, and the clip-clop of early arrivals, but orally we'd capture the understated bustle for a fresh, awakening calm. This earlier period tease could serve as a prequel, linking to the 1800s evolution while providing variety and scale. From grand harbors to local exchanges, ideal for morning routines, it would use natural light transitions and audio design to mirror rising energy subtly. By suggesting this, we open avenues for chronological depth in the series. It maintains our soothing narrative thread across centuries. Teasing further, imagine immersing in the quiet workshops of artisan guilds in mid-1800s Philadelphia, where the tap of hammers on leather or the whir of lathes form a craftsman's symphony. Drawn from guild archives for precise recreation, these spaces hummed with focused activity, interspersed with pauses for tool sharpening, creating a pattern conducive to productive meditation in listeners. Shifting from natural to handmade elements, this expansion would highlight skilled labor's rhythm. Contrasting the harbor's trade focus with production's intimacy, it could enhance creative hobbies, as the sounds inspire modern makers without distraction. This project teases vocational diversity. Expanding our historical palette thoughtfully, it reinforces the series' role in evoking purposeful tranquility. An additional idea might explore the serene riverboat landings along the Mississippi in the 1830s, with the paddle wheel's distant churn and the call of rivermen tying off lines. Based on steamboat manifests and traveler accounts, the water's flow here differs from coastal harbors, offering a freshwater variant with bird calls from wooded banks adding layers of calm. This could appeal to those drawn to inland waterways, providing a narrative of exploration through gentle audio cues, maintaining low intensity. It would suit transitional moments in daily life, like commutes or breaks. By including this tease, we hint at geographical branching in the series. It connects regional histories in a flowing, unified way, continuing the expansions. A soundscape of lighthouses along the Atlantic coast in the early 1800s could feature the steady beams imagine hum and the crash of waves on rocks below, to keepers' footsteps echoing in towers from logbooks. These isolated outposts provided vigilant calm, with foghorn lows and lantern adjustments creating sparse, reassuring patterns. This project would emphasize solitude amid nature's power, ideal for deep introspection or sleep preparation. It builds on the harbor's maritime roots while venturing to peripheral stations, diversifying auditory isolation. Such a tease promises atmospheric variety. It aligns with our mission of historical relaxation, teasing a global touch, though rooted in American influence. Consider the ambient trade posts in the Pacific Northwest during fur trading eras, with the rustle of pelts and indigenous bartering murmurs blending into forest whispers. Expedition reports detail the mix of cultures in these hubs, allowing for a respectful, subtle recreation that honors diverse voices without dominance. This could expand the series to frontier exchanges, offering a multicultural calm that enriches understanding. Suitable for cultural reflection, it would use natural backdrops to maintain serenity. This idea broadens horizons gently. It invites inclusive historical immersion. As we wrap this teasing of future projects, reflect on how these potential soundscapes from trails to mills and beyond promise to extend the harbor's legacy, each one a new invitation to relax through history's quieter symphonies. The possibilities are vast yet always anchored in authenticity and calm. Imagine which era might call to you next. With this anticipation kindled, we move seamlessly to engaging our community for input. This transition fosters shared excitement softly, having teased the array of potential future soundscape projects that could extend our explorations beyond the 1800s harbor. Let us now turn our attention to engaging our wonderful community, inviting you and fellow listeners to become active participants in shaping the direction of this series through your thoughtful suggestions. Picture a gathering of like-minded souls, much like the informal assemblies in harbor taverns where sailors shared stories of distant shores. Now translated to the digital realm where your ideas can help chart our course. This subsection is dedicated to fostering that sense of connection, encouraging input on other historical periods or locations might lend themselves to similarly soothing recreations. As we delve into this communal aspect, remember that your voice adds depth to our collective journey, always in a gentle, unpressured way that aligns with the relaxing spirit of the channel. With these warm invitations in mind, we begin by discussing how your suggestions for historical periods can inspire new ambient experiences. Engaging the community starts with an open call for suggestions on other historical periods that could be transformed into calming soundscapes. Perhaps eras like the Renaissance in European cities, where the soft clatter of cobblestone streets and the murmur of marketplace barters create a tapestry of gentle activity. Historical texts from the 15th century describe the rhythm of artisans at work and the distant toll of cathedral bells, elements that could be layered subtly to evoke a sense of timeless craftsmanship without overwhelming the senses. By sharing your preferences in the comments below, you help us prioritize periods that resonate most, much as community feedback in past episodes has guided our focus on authentic details. This collaborative approach ensures the series evolves organically, reflecting the diverse interests of listeners who seek relaxation through varied historical lenses. Over time, such input could lead to soundscapes that transport you to the quiet libraries of ancient Alexandria or the serene tea ceremonies of feudal Japan, always crafted with the same dedication to peace. It transforms passive enjoyment into a shared creative process, enriching everyone's experience quietly. Suggestions for specific locations hold equal appeal, inviting ideas like the ambient hush of ancient Roman forums at dusk, where the echo of footsteps on marble and the faint trickle of fountains provide a backdrop for contemplative immersion. Archaeological records detail how these public spaces hummed with subdued conversations and the rustle of togas, which we could recreate using period-accurate acoustics to foster a deep, restful connection to antiquity. Commenting with your favorite spots, whether the misty highlands of medieval Scotland or the sun-baked plazas of colonial Mexico, allows us to explore global histories that complement our American harbor origins. This engagement not only diversifies the series but also builds a repository of inspirations, drawing from the collective wisdom of our audience, much like explorers' pooled knowledge in port logs. In turn, it creates a feedback loop where your contributions directly influence future content, ensuring each new release feels personally tailored. Such interaction keeps the channel vibrant yet serene, rooted in community harmony. To make suggesting easy, consider sharing why a particular period or location appeals to you for relaxation. such as the steady forge hammers in a Viking village that mimic a heartbeat's rhythm, drawn from saga descriptions of daily Nordic life. These personal insights help us understand the emotional draw, allowing for soundscapes that capture not just sounds, but the essence of calm inherent in those times, like the wind through longhouses or the crackle of communal fires. By including details in your comments, you provide valuable context that refines our research process, similar to how historical societies documented oral traditions for posterity. This depth encourages others to join in, fostering discussions that remain positive and focus on shared appreciation for history's soothing side. Ultimately, it strengthens the bond between creator and listener, making the series a collaborative haven for unwind. Your thoughtful input becomes the gentle wind propelling us forward. Beyond periods and locations, we welcome ideas for thematic variations within soundscapes, such as seasonal shifts in a harbor setting where autumn gales add a whispering layer to the familiar creaks inspired by meteorological journals from the era. Community suggestions could explore how rain pattering on canvas sails or snow muffling dock footsteps alter the ambience, providing fresh takes on established themes without straying from relaxation. Sharing these in the comments section sparks creativity, much as inventors in 1800s ports exchanged innovations over ale, leading to refined designs. This thematic engagement ensures variety, preventing repetition while honoring the core of immersive calm. Over episodes, it could result in specialized releases tailored to moods or times of year. Enhancing personalization, it invites a deeper level of participation, quietly empowering you, encouraging diversity in suggestions. Think of underrepresented histories like the quiet trading posts of the Silk Road. In the medieval era, the soft jingle of camel bells and the murmur of multilingual negotiations create a cross-cultural lullaby. Travelogues from explorers detailed these oases of commerce amid deserts, offering sounds like tent flaps in the breeze that could be mixed for global appeal. By proposing such locales in comments, you help broaden our scope to include non-Western narratives, promoting inclusivity in our relaxing explorations. This approach mirrors the harbor's own melting pot of cultures. Enriching the series with varied perspectives, it fosters a global community dialogue, always conducted with respect and curiosity. Such contributions expand horizons subtly, benefiting all. To facilitate engagement, we suggest using specific formats in your comments, like starting with suggestion, period, location, reason, for instance. Suggestion: ancient Egypt along the Nile. The steadier dips and reed whispers evoke eternal flow. Papyrus records describe river life. The chants and water splashes, which could inspire authentic layers for meditation. This structure aids in organizing feedback, making it easier to compile and acknowledge in future updates. Similar to cataloging cargo and harbor manifests, it encourages concise yet meaningful input, ensuring every voice is heard without overwhelming the discussion. In response, we can highlight selected ideas and pin comments or shout-outs, building excitement gently. This method strengthens community ties, creating a supportive space. Community engagement also includes sharing how our current harbor soundscape fits into your routines, perhaps as a backdrop for journaling where the distant calls prompt reflective thoughts, akin to captains logging voyages. By recounting these in comments, you inspire others to try similar uses, fostering a network of shared experiences much like mutual aid societies in 1800s ports. This personal storytelling adds warmth, turning abstract suggestions into relatable inspirations for new projects. It helps us gauge what elements resonate most, refining future soundscapes accordingly. Over time, it cultivates a loyal, interactive audience invested in the channel's growth. Such narratives weave us together calmly, inviting suggestions for audio enhancements. Consider proposing subtle additions like incorporating period-appropriate weather variations, such as a light fog horn and misty conditions drawn from lighthouse annals. Feedback on mixing preferences like softer voices or amplified waves guides technical improvements, ensuring optimal relaxation for all. This technical engagement, shared politely in comments, mirrors collaborative shipbuilding where input refine designs. It empowers listeners as co-creators, enhancing satisfaction without complexity. Ultimately, it elevates the series through collective expertise. Your ideas become integral to evolution. To encourage broader participation, we might host occasional polls and community posts, asking between options like Victorian London streets versus Samurai-era Kyoto gardens based on emerging suggestions. Historical overviews provide context for choices, such as the clip of hansoms in fog or the rake of gravel paths, both conducive to zen-like calm. Voting engages those who prefer quick input, complementing detailed comments and expanding reach. This democratic element, inspired by town hall meetings in early America, ensures inclusivity. It builds anticipation for selected themes, strengthening bonds. Such tools keep interaction dynamic yet low-key. Community stories could highlight how suggestions from past episodes influence content, like a viewer's idea for including subtle belt buoys in the harbor mix rooted in naval histories. Sharing these acknowledgments in videos fosters gratitude, encouraging more contributions as participants see impact. This cycle mirrors trade feedback loops in ports where merchant input shape routes. It motivates ongoing dialogue, sustaining enthusiasm gently. Over the series, it creates a legacy of collaborative calm. Your role becomes celebrated, engaging younger audiences, suggestions for educational tie-ins, such as soundscapes paired with history lessons on the American Revolution's coastal strategies, could emerge from teacher comments. Period maps detail cannon echoes and flag signals adaptable to soft audio for study aids. This broadens appeal, inviting family-friendly input that enriches content diversity. It positions the channel as a resource beyond relaxation, always maintaining serenity. Such expansions grow the community thoughtfully. They connect generations through sound. To wrap this engagement focus, reflect on how your suggestions for periods, locations, and themes shape our shared path, turning the series into a communal tapestry of historical peace. From comments to polls, it's about gentle collaboration. We value every idea profoundly, as this fosters connection. We transition to our call to action. This invites continued support warmly, having kindled the spirit of collaboration through your suggestions and shared experiences. Let us now extend a gentle call to action, encouraging simple steps that support the continuation of these immersive historical soundscapes and help our community grow in harmony. Think of this as the quiet exchange of letters between distant correspondents in the 1800s, where few words or gestures strengthen ties across vast oceans. Now adapted to the digital age where your participation sustains our shared voyage. This subsection will outline ways to engage further, from liking and subscribing to sharing with like-minded friends, all presented without urgency but with appreciation for the role each action plays in nurturing this channel. As you consider these invitations, recall the soothing harbor sounds that brought us here, and imagine how your support could anchor future explorations. With this sense of quiet contribution in mind, we proceed to these supportive steps. A call to action begins with the simple act of liking this video. If the harbor soundscape has brought you a moment of peace, much as a nod of approval in the 1800s dockside conversation affirmed a tale well told. Historical gatherings and port taverns relied on such affirmations to encourage storytellers. And today, your like signals to the algorithm that content like this resonates, helping it reach others seeking similar relaxation. It's an effortless way to express gratitude, taking mere seconds yet amplifying the visibility of our calming narratives, without any commitment beyond that instant. Over time, these collective likes build momentum, ensuring more episodes can be produced with the same meticulous care. By doing so, you become part of the gentle current that carries our series forward. fostering a space for historical immersion. This small gesture honors the effort behind each layer of sound, quietly sustaining the journey. Next, consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, securing a steady stream of notifications for new soundscapes that arrive like anticipated ships. Docking in an early American harbor. In the 1800s, merchants subscribed to shipping news broadsheets to stay informed of arrivals. A practice we echo here, where subscriptions keep you connected to upcoming releases without the need for constant checking. Turning on the bell icon ensures you're alerted gently, allowing these ambient experiences to integrate seamlessly into your routine for ongoing relaxation. This action supports our growth by demonstrating sustained interest, which in turn enables more detailed recreations of historical ambiences. It's a commitment-free way to invest in your own wellness, as each new video builds on the last to offer fresh paths to calm. Ultimately, subscribing weaves you into our community fabric, ensuring the harbor's legacy flows into future eras. Sharing the video with friends or family who might appreciate this soothing dive into history extends the reach, much like word-of-mouth tales spread among sailors, carrying stories from one port to the next in the maritime networks of the era. Whether through social media, email, or casual conversation, your share introduces others to the rhythmic creaks and waves that have lulled you, potentially brightening their day with a touch of serene escapism. Historical communities thrive on such dissemination, from broadsides posted on wharves to letters carried by clippers. And today it helps our channel flourish by attracting kindred spirits. No elaborate message is needed. A simple note about how it aided your relaxation suffices to spark interest. This act not only supports continued production, but also creates ripples of calm in wider circles, enhancing collective well-being. It transforms individual enjoyment into a shared gift, quietly expanding our harbor's horizon. To make sharing even more meaningful, perhaps include a personal note on how the soundscape fits into your life, such as using it for evening wind downs, inspiring others to try it in similar ways drawn from their own routines. In the 1800s, personal endorsements in merchant circles built trust in new ventures, and here, your anecdote adds authenticity that algorithms can't replicate, encouraging genuine engagement. This personalized touch fosters deeper connections within our audience. Much as harbor tales bonded crews during long voyages, it requires minimal effort yet yields lasting impact, helping sustain the resources for future projects. By sharing thoughtfully, you contribute to a cycle of inspiration that keeps the series evolving. Such actions embody the communal spirit that defined early American ports. Beyond basic actions, engaging in the comments with your thoughts on the soundscape reinforces support, as positive feedback loops back to motivate more content creation, akin to applause in a theater prompting encores. Comment sections serve as modern equivalents to harbor bulletin boards, where notices and responses shape community directions. Your input here does the same for our channel. Even a brief expression of enjoyment boosts morale and visibility, ensuring the dedication to historical accuracy continues. This interaction costs nothing but a moment, yet it fortifies the foundation for expansions like those teased earlier. It creates a welcoming space where relaxation seekers converge, enhancing the overall experience. Your voice in this way becomes a subtle anchor for growth. For those inclined, turning on post notifications or joining any associated mailing lists keeps you abreast of behind-the-scenes updates. Much like subscribing to naval gazettes in the era for maritime news, these extras provide glimpses into sound design processes or upcoming teases, deepening your appreciation without overwhelming your inbox. Historical enthusiasts often collected such periodicals to stay immersed, and here it offers a similar enrichment tailored to our ambient focus. This level of engagement supports sustained development by showing active interest, allowing for more ambitious projects. It's optional yet rewarding, adding layers to your connection with the content. Such steps ensure you're at the forefront of our calming evolutions, Sharing across platforms amplifies reach exponentially, introducing the soundscape to diverse audiences who might discover historical relaxation anew, echoing how trade winds carried goods and ideas globally from American harbors. Choose platforms where your network aligns with wellness or history interests, maximizing relevance without broadcast. This strategic sharing sustains viewership metrics crucial for channel viability. Enabling continued investment in quality audio, it requires no expertise, just a genuine recommendation. Yet it propels our series like favorable currents. By doing so, you help preserve and propagate this niche of soothing content. The impact accumulates gently over time. To encourage ongoing support, consider revisiting past videos and engaging there too. A sustained activity signals enduring appeal. Much like maintained lighthouses guided ships reliably, this revisitation refreshes your own relaxation while bolstering analytics. Inform future directions. Historical archives gain value through repeated reference. Our library of soundscapes benefits similarly from your return visits. It's a low-effort way to contribute, fitting seamlessly into spare moments. Such habits reinforce the channel's stability, ensuring more harbors and beyond. Your consistency becomes a quiet pillar of support. For deeper involvement, participating in any polls or surveys we post gathers preferences directly. Shaping content like voter assemblies influence port policies in early republics. These quick interactions provide data without demand, helping tailor soundscapes to collective tastes. Drawing from democratic traditions, it empowers you in the creative process subtly. This engagement level supports refined expansions, aligning with audience desires. It's voluntary yet influential, enhancing satisfaction all around. Such mechanisms keep our community attuned. Upping the call to action, remember that liking, subscribing, and sharing are the gentle winds that propel this ship of historical immersion forward, sustaining the creation of more tranquil soundscapes for all. From simple clicks to thoughtful shares, each contributes to our shared calm. We appreciate your role profoundly. As this segment draws to a close, let these invitations linger softly. Now, with the horizon in view, we ease into a calming conclusion, reflecting on the journey we've shared. As the gentle creaks of wooden hulls and the distant calls of dockworkers fade into the quiet of your mind, let us reflect on the harbor we've shared tonight, a timeless echo of lives lived at the edge of land and sea. In the 1800s, these ports were places of constant motion yet profound constancy, where the rhythm of waves and work provided a steady backdrop to human endeavors. Much like the subtle pulse that now guides you toward rest, the sounds we've recreated carry with them the quiet dignity of those who labored under sail and sky, their days marked by the same natural cycles that still shape our world. The era brought its share of uncertainty storms that tested resolve, separations that tugged at hearts. The harbor always offered a return to familiar shores, a place where hope renewed itself with each tide. In this way, the bustle was never merely noise, but a reminder of resilience and connection, a gentle assurance that life continues in its measured way. Now, as you settle deeper into the present, contrast that past with the comfort surrounding you, the soft warmth of your bed, the safety of your room, the absence of the era's harsher demands. Creaks and lapping waters that once signaled the end of a long day for sailors now serve the same purpose for you, easing the mind from wakefulness without effort. There is no need to hold on to the day's thoughts. Let them drift like ships slipping their moorings, carried away on the current of sound. The harbor's rhythm has done its work, wrapping you in a blanket of calm that bridges centuries yet feels intimately yours. Allow your breathing to slow, matching the imagined rise and fall of the tide, as sleep approaches like a quiet fog rolling in. Thank you for joining us on this soothing journey through an early American port city's bustle. May these sounds linger softly in your memory, ready to welcome you back whenever rest is needed. Until our next gentle exploration, rest well, knowing that history's quieter moments are always here to cradle you. Good night and sweet dreams.